if I look at my mum, for example, being the first in our family to get a bachelor's degree, you know, that for me signified a change in our whānau. And I guess that, and you could almost say that was a catalyst for me.
Welcome to Life is Life. My name is Busola, your host, and today I have an amazing guest with me in the house. Very driven. He's got a very big heart for young people, for ethnic minorities, for indigenous people, for Maori. He's been doing amazing things. I have known him for over 8 years, and he has been consistent. The person I have here today is the new deputy chair of the Henderson Massey local board. Welcome, Will.
Kia ora, Busola.
Kia ora. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, very good. Thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful you came. We had a little bit of amendments here and there, but finally you're here, and I'm so excited that you did accept to come.
I'm excited to see you.
Yeah, same. Do you want to introduce yourself to our audience? Who is Will Flavel?
Yeah, kia ora koutou katoa, no ngāpuhi Ngāti Whātua, tainui Ngāti Maniapoto hau, ko Will Flavel tēnei. So on my father's side, my tribal affiliations are tainui Ngāti Maniapoto, and my mother's side, my tribal affiliations are Ngāti Whātua and Ngāpuhi, and I live here in beautiful West Auckland.
Welcome, thank you. So I'm just going to start from way back. I knew you when you're still young, but you were younger. And when I served as a staff, an employee on the Henderson Massey local board, you were there and you were consistent, advocating for Maori and Pacific and the ethnic minorities and doing amazing stuff, pushing stuff for young people. Can I ask you, what motivated you into politics?
Yeah, so I was in my 20s when I first entered the Henderson Massey local board. And we're currently in the Henderson Massey local board, and we have around about 130,000 people. So we've got a lot of people that I represent. What motivated me? Back in 2013, at the beginning of 2013, I noticed those who were elected to the local board, there were no Māori, there were no Pacific, and there was no one under the age of 50 years old. And for me, that didn't represent the diversity of our community. And we're a young community, and we're a brown community, and we're very diverse. And so those who were making decisions for us back in 2010, I felt did not truly represent us. So that's why I put my name forward, and that's why I contested the Henderson Massey local board. And so I've always been a champion for young people, for diverse communities, for indigenous communities, because I feel that that's the place where I feel that I can champion and advocate strongly for.
Kapai, well done. And I believe your work is being seen across West Auckland. Can I ask you, have you faced any challenges? What were they? Maybe you tell us a personal story, one of them, and how you were able to overcome those challenges.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a number of challenges growing up. You know, for example, formal education wasn't necessarily a strong part of the identity of my family. So my mum, for example, she was the first person to go to university in our family, and she didn't do that until quite lately into her age. So I think she was around mid-30s when she graduated from university. And so for our family, university was simply a way out of poverty. You know, I say that formal education, a way out of poverty, because when you're armed with formal education, I guess that there's so many more opportunities as a result of having that formal education.
That's right.
So my mum became a teacher in the mid to late 30s, and she has been a deputy and a principal in her career. So she was the first person that set the standard for our family, and I guess for her children, as being one of her children, that we knew that education is going to play a strong role in cementing our future for our whānau. And so I think that was a challenge, you know, not having necessarily big education role models in my family, but actually believing in myself at high school and recognizing that, you know, I can also carry on that tradition, that new tradition of going to university. So I knew when I was 12 years old that I was always going to go to university.
Wow.
May not have had the role models in my family, only my mother, but I knew I was going to go to anyway because I knew how that changed lives and family stories. I guess another story I'd like to share is that Māori and young Māori are underrepresented in local government. You know, when I was running for local council back in 2013, there were very few, if any, Māori elected members. So I knew that if I got elected, I'll be one of the very first to be elected. And I really wanted to show other young Māori that, you know, you can be Māori and you could be young and you can have your place on the local council. And that's what I did.
Excellent. So to you watching, there's no limits to you. That's exactly what Will is saying, that there is no boundary. You just need to believe in yourself. And you have a PhD. Tell us about that. What was the motivation behind that?
Yeah, so I consider myself what you call a pracademic. What that means is that, yes, I have a PhD, but I wanted to be very practical about it. Not just a PhD for the sake of it, but being able to use the research to change lives. That's really important. It has to go hand in hand. And so my PhD was on the learning experiences of non-Māori high school kids learning Te Reo Māori, because I think as New Zealanders, we should all value Te Reo Māori, regardless if we're Māori or not. It's the indigenous language of this country. It's one of the national languages of this country. And I know that, you know, as a Te Reo Māori teacher, predominantly at Rutherford College previously, I had a lot of non-Māori students learning Te Reo Māori at the senior level. And I was really curious to understand what their motivations were to learn Te Reo Māori, because I thought, man, this is so fascinating. I guess because we understand the reasons why Māori kids are learning Te Reo Māori. Māori kids learn Te Reo Māori because it's part of their heritage, their family history, and a part of their culture. But I didn't quite understand why non-Māori kids were learning Te Reo Māori. So this was the first of its research of any kind around non-Māori high school students learning Te Reo Māori. And I learned so much from it. You know, the Māori Language Commission have this goal of 1 million speakers of Te Reo Māori by 2040, and I strongly believe that non-Māori also play a role in getting to that number of 1 million speakers.
Yeah. I actually believe that language is very powerful. When you, even if you cannot speak fluently, the moment you're a beginner and you meet somebody and break the ice by saying kia ora or saying some few sentences, it actually shows that you value that person by speaking the language that they understand.
Absolutely, Busola. I'm a multilingual personal speaker. I majored in Japanese at university.
Wow.
Also speak Samoan, a bit of Samoan as well. And so you can't separate language and culture. They go hand in hand. So when you're learning a language, you're also learning a culture. And so for me, being elected to the local board in a very strong, diverse area here in West Auckland, it's really important for me to understand how people view the world differently, you know. And when I learn about how other people's cultures, that actually helps strengthen my own culture. You don't separate them. It actually adds value to your own identity. And I think that's the beauty of living here in West Auckland.
Yes, it is very beautiful too. And it's very beautiful, and I would just say it's so beautiful to acknowledge people.
You know, the Māori culture is indigenous to this country. You know, you won't find it anywhere else.
No.
So any opportunities where we can enhance culture, identity, and language here in this country, I think is really important, and that all New Zealanders should value it.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So we honor our elders, past and present. Just taking this minute to honor them and to honor all the work that you have done and all the wonderful people, indigenous people of Aotearoa. Well done.
Kia ora.
So we're not going to move on to politics. Tell us, how excited are you about your new role as Deputy Chair of the Henderson Massey?
Oh man, excited. You know, being elected to the Henderson Massey Local Board is one of the most best privileges of my life. You know, representing nearly 130,000 people from here to I guess a number of 9 different types of suburbs. You know, from I guess Te Atatu, Massey, Ranui, Glendine, Sunnyvale, etc., West Harbour. You know, I was Deputy Chair previously in the first half of last term, so to be given the honour again is such a privilege. You know, I work alongside 8 great community advocates. Our current chairperson is the Honourable Chris Carter, who's had so much experience, particularly in national government, and has also worked at the UN. So to be, I guess, connected to him and to learn from him has been a great experience for me. But I guess for me, being I'm one of the long-standing local board members and more experienced local board members. It's great that we've got a mix on our board, from highly experienced to just a couple of new people. We've got two new people on this term. We've got Dan, and we've got Oscar Kitely, who's a well-known movie actor. And so we bring the diversity that is encouraged by our local board, from our local community. And I guess, again, it's a privilege to be in this position. And we're halfway through the term.
Awesome. So next elections would be?
Next year.
Next year. Okay. What do you think you're going to do? What's your biggest goal for this rest of the term?
Yeah, for me at the moment, one of the more topical issues for West Auckland and generally around the country is the high cost of living,
Yeah.
So I want to make sure and advocate for, if there's any opportunities where families can save, if the decisions that we make, that families can save money, that we advocate hard for those issues. That's important to me. For example, I've seen what the current government have done in terms of, the high cost of, public transport. Unfortunately, they're bringing back prescription costs, and it's my job to really advocate for issues, where I feel that our families here in West Auckland are disproportionately affected. Sometimes we don't have decision-making powers, but at least at our level we can advocate and support our local West Auckland families. I guess for me, one of the bigger issues is the Te Atatu Marae. Over 50 years, our community have really fought for a marae on the Te Atatu Peninsula in Orangihina. So we have to understand the history of West Auckland. Many of the Māori families came here after World War II. They left their hometowns. They came to Auckland in search of work, better school opportunities and things like that. But once you leave your homelands, you come to a city, unfortunately, there are times where you need to be able to see your identity and your culture here. And a marae really provides that safe haven for many of our families. So I like to see that progress further. The city rail link is another issue of mine. I want to see public transport, really linked across Auckland. For example, what the city rail link will provide is that it will shave off 15 to 20 minutes off the time to get to the city, which on the trains, which I think is really cool. But also not having to change the trains, catching the train directly from West Auckland to South Auckland. I think that's
fantastic.
Cool, right? That's cool. From west to east to south. That's amazing. So that's a few years coming. So I guess you really need to advocate that, to make that happen quicker, and to really ensure that the resources are there to meet that particular need. So there's a couple, in terms of creating a modern Tamaki Makaurau, what we can do is continue to push the issues that are really important for our community.
Awesome. Do you think there's any future for young Māoris or young ethnic people, or even people that are not so young? Do you think there's future for them in serving the community as local board members or councillors, or even going into central government politics?
You know what? You can be any age to serve the community. And I think service to community is so fundamental to being a really good citizen of our community. I remember putting my hand up in my 20s to stand for the local government, bearing in mind that, being Māori and being young wasn't evident, it wasn't seen across the representation across Auckland Council. So being one of the first to do so, and it is with hope that I'm able to role model that, for young people to put their hands up and say, yes, I want to be at that decision-making table. I want to help make decisions that affect my generation and my community. And I really strongly encourage, rangatahi, our young people, being Māori, being ethnically diverse. We're such a diverse community.
That's right.
And there's beauty in diversity. And, and I think it's important that those who have lived experiences in those communities, play a role in that decision-making table. So I'm all for young people standing up to be servants of their community, particularly at local government.
So I understand that we can put our hands up.
Yep.
However, what sort of qualities do you think such people should have?
That's a really interesting question. So I think the first quality that comes to mind is that you're serving the wider community. So you have to understand, how the different community groups operate in your area. So I really had to make sure that, I was connected to different groups in the community to get a real good feeling of the needs and aspirations of the different groups, because not every group thinks the same. So for you to do your research, so you attend local events, local community meetings, it could be church groups, it could be sporting events, cultural events, and that really in my first year, that gave me a really good indication of the aspirations of the diverse groups here. It can't be about yourself, it definitely cannot be about yourself. You've got to put the community first in their aspirations, and I really have to make that clear. You've got to be a good communicator. You have to be a good communicator. So your job at the local board is to showcase your views and your viewpoint on those particular issues. So you've got to make that clear. You've also got to be a good team member. You can't make decisions on your own. What you've got to do is you've got to ensure that you work well in the team to be able to get a consensus. Because if you can't get your team members to agree on the issue that you're putting up there, then I think you'll fail as a result. So being a good team member, putting the heart of the community first, and service to the community. Those are fundamental issues that you need to consider when running for local government.
Well done, thank you. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Are you going into Auckland Council politics or?
By the end of this term, that's 12 years elected to Henderson Massey Local Board.
And that is a record. Well done.
That's a record. Still in my 30s, and I'm proud of that record and serving my community in that respect. I'm always looking for leadership opportunities. I feel that being on the local board has given me skills to work with our communities, to understand the aspirations of the communities, and I want to use that in a really good, positive way. So any job I feel that enables me to strengthen my own leadership skills, but to continue to give back to the community. So I'm really an open mind on what that looks like. Could be central government one day. It could be leading a school, high school one day. But I definitely look forward to those opportunities.
So you're looking just in Auckland, or of course central government could be outside Auckland as well?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of central government, I've always been able to give feedback on a range of issues that perhaps we don't talk about at local government. My many years of involvement in education, so I really have a passion for ways that our education system could revolve or look like. I've also have a strong understanding in international issues, having done a lot of work into connections with Indigenous communities around the world. But at the beginning of last year, I came back from my Fulbright scholarship in Boston, working with Native American young people in Massachusetts. So, so I really would like to contribute to a range of wider issues that I think I can contribute well to. And I think central government may provide that platform. I love our young people. I love inspiring and working with our young people. So perhaps a high school principal one day. So I guess, as they say, the world is your oyster.
That's right.
You're only confined by the walls that you put around yourself. And sometimes I want to break down those walls and discover perhaps new avenues.
If I could take you back a little bit, before you started politics, can you remember any cheerleaders you had at the time? Who were your biggest cheerleaders?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There are two types of people that come to my mind. So if I look at my mum, for example, being the first in our family to get a bachelor's degree, that for me signified a change in our whānau. And I guess and you could almost say that was a catalyst for me for wanting to go to university, for normalizing formal education as a pathway to doing better in life. So I have to I have to acknowledge my mum for that. But secondly, actually, I acknowledge my high school teachers and my university lecturers. I mean, the teachers who never gave up on me, who believed in me, who offered me opportunities. And I'm thankful, and I continue to be thankful for them because I know, I guess as a teacher myself, I know the power of being a role model, the power of changing lives, particularly young people. And a lot of our young people need quality role models in their lives,
That's right.
And as a teacher, I get so much feedback from a lot of my former students who continue to tell me how maybe I made a difference in their lives. And I love hearing that, but that's not something I think about when I was in the classroom, because I was doing my job to the best of my ability, but I love that it's had that positive impact on their lives.
So do you want to say, is your mom still here with us?
Oh, absolutely.
So do you want to say thank you to mom in a special way and your teachers, if they're watching right now?
Oh, yeah. Aroha nui ki a koe, Mom. Awesome to acknowledge you and the mahi that you do, as a current teacher as well. And I guess you've transformed much more lives than I have, and that's a beautiful thing. And just I guess to all my teachers, I went to a school in the north called Green Bay College, a rural country school. So I acknowledge all those teachers who positively impacted on my life, and hopefully I've done the same for the many students that I've taught. Kia ora.
Kia ora. And that's the importance of what we do. We live our lives such that the next generation can mirror what we have done for them. And you're just mirroring what your mom and your high school teachers have done. So to anyone there that has the opportunity to impact lives or to serve, what you're doing does not just end with you. Let's bear in mind and keep with us that what we do now live after us for many, many years and generations to come. What's one message you have for your constituents?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think my one message for those residents living in West Auckland is that being connected is really important. Being connected to your community, to your neighbours, to the services that council provides. Connection is so important, and as someone who values connection, I want to ensure that our residents also value that connection. There have been difficult times in West Auckland. I think about the floods at the beginning of last year, which impacted so many of our whānau here. And what beat that is that, we were connected to each other, that we looked out for each other, that we were there for each other. It was beautiful to see so many people come together, help support those families that were affected, through volunteering, providing food parcels, cleaning up the streets and the roads. And that's all about being connected. And I want to make sure that we don't lose that, because that's what I value the most, being a West Auckland resident, is how we value each other's company.
Yeah, West is best.
West is best, absolutely.
I've been living in the West since March 2008, and I really can't see myself living anywhere else in Auckland apart from the West. So West is best, guys. Some people say the West is not safe. What do you say about that?
I think that's a perception. I live here and I wouldn't live anywhere else in West Auckland. I think, at times across the country there are unsafe moments, and we see that through the news about some of the issues that have been happening. I want to acknowledge some of the difficult times, particularly around public transport hubs, where I've seen our young people who have been affected by, I guess, bullying or traumatizing events, etc. It's really good to see volunteers out there who are sort of looking out for others. I don't necessarily think it's unsafe. If we believe in the connectedness of our communities, if we continue to work with each other, look out for each other, that may provide a platform where we can come together a little bit more, because I think that's really important. But in terms of safety, I think we have to definitely prioritize safety, but I don't necessarily think it's unsafe. If you look at other parts of Auckland, I think we are going through a difficult time where many families are suffering hardship, and so what are the root causes of that, of the safety issues? I think poverty is one of them. I think boredom is another one as well. So I'm a big fan of, for example, of our education system, of our schooling system, ensuring that that our young kids get the best education and the opportunities after that, so that they don't become bored and so they don't become unemployed. And I think that we all can play a role in supporting that.
True. Excellent. Do you still play badminton or is it tennis?
Tennis, I do. Tennis is my outlet to all the stresses that this life provides. No, I love tennis. I grew up playing tennis, competitive tennis. I play for Te Atatu Tennis Club. For me, tennis is about health and well-being. That's so important. Health and well-being in a modern 2024 year is so important. So, I always encourage people to take the time, get some fitness, get out there, walk, run, jog, hike, play sport, go to the gym. Because of the pressures of a modern world, I think it's really good for well-being. So tennis is my way of just
letting it out.
Letting it out and staying rather fit.
Okay. So how do you balance all of these things? You're serving the local board. You were teaching at some point. At some point, you were studying. Last year, you were in the U.S.
Yep.
And you played tennis, and you still do other things that we don't know about.
Yeah.
What's the secret? How do you balance all of this?
The secret is that I've purposely selected things that I really enjoy. And I'm grateful that I get to work in places that I thoroughly love and enjoy. So when you work in an environment that you enjoy, that you love, sometimes it doesn't feel like it's a work, or sometimes it doesn't feel like you're feel like that it's a stressful environment because you enjoy being in those environments. So I've been very careful on what I select. One of the, I guess, for me is as a lover of learning, and particularly learning the Samoan language. Some may see that I'm learning as a stressful part of life, but actually it's helped me with my well-being, learning another language. So, some may see that differently, but, learning things has really helped me with my well-being. I love to get out and go for walks. I make sure I walk 2 to 3 times a week at the different maunga across, Tamaki Makaurau. I play a lot of sport, pickleball, tennis. I like to be around good friends and, good people that encourage you, because no doubt there are times where things can be difficult and all, but just having key people around you that encourage you, I think that's extremely important.
Talking about the economy of the Henderson Massey Local Board, do you have any message for businesses in the area? And if yes, what is the message?
Yeah, I mean, the economy, struggles from time to time, and it saddens me to see empty shops around there as well. So I guess the key message is, how do we bring locals to shop local? That's the key message. And I know the different business districts and business areas, I guess, have their goals on how to bring people in. But what I see is that we see so many houses being built around West Auckland. There are opportunities when people are living here. It's really cool to see, for example, Laidlaw, based in Henderson as well. So I'm hoping that with more people coming into Henderson, that creates, more opportunities economically. People, buying local. I think that's key. I always make sure that I'm buying grocery shopping local, go to my local barber. I eat as much as I can locally because I also want to contribute locally. I bought my first home in Henderson, and I'm a big supporter of local. I mean, why do I need to go elsewhere to do all those things? So I just encourage others to do the same as well, because I know the benefits of that for our local economy.
That's right. So if you're in the Henderson Massey Local Board, shop local, support local businesses, and if you're a local business, get in touch with us. We'd like to promote and support what you do. One last word from you, Will. What's your last word for our audience today?
Oh, well, kia ora koutou. I think sharing my story today, for me, I always coin it down to this particular phrase: mokopuna decisions. So mokopuna, our grandchildren or future grandchildren. So every decision that I make, I call it a mokopuna decision, which means that I'm on future focus, that every decision that I make will benefit future generations, our mokopuna. So that's always key, that it's not, when I make decisions at a local board level, or if it comes to around education issues, that it's not just about the now, but how it impacts that positively in the future. And that's always what a good decision maker will think about when making key decisions.
So I congratulate you on your new role as Deputy Chair of the Henderson Massey Local Board. I am one of your residents. I look forward to what you're going to do. I am closely always following the news regarding what the Henderson Massey Local Board does. And I want to encourage all our residents in the area as well. Let's support the local board. If you have any issues, feel free to contact Will. So if we're going to contact you, how can we reach you?
Yeah, I think the best for me to the best way to do that is through social media. So I have a LinkedIn, that's a professional-based page, a Twitter, my Facebook page as well. I think that's probably the easiest way to connect with me and to see the work that I do. But if there's any queries I can support locally, definitely get in touch.
Okay, so is it just Will Flavel, all of it?
Yeah, Will Flavel, LinkedIn, Twitter, and my Facebook council page.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming. I am so grateful and delighted to have you here. I look forward to what's coming, and we all look forward to your success. We wish you all the best, Will. Thank you for listening to Life is Life podcast. Please like, share, and comment. Until next time, take care and God bless you.